I started to wonder, and I wondered, which led me to wonder. I had to wonder. I started to wonder. I couldn't help but 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 wonder.
Hello and welcome back to City Girls Make Do, your favorite Sex in the City podcast, hosted by me, Stephanie, and I'm the hickey on your chin.
And I'm Alex, a little white pussy.
Oh, I almost went with something similar for this one. Oh God, this episode is shitty.
Yeah, it's a real doozy. Like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Still wasn't good.
Yeah, I think the same. Like, I feel like it was because it was like one plot sucked. Whereas last week it was like, it kind of felt like all the plots sucked last week. But like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was sort of like, I feel like because we were prepped for last week, we sort of prepped ourselves for terribleness, that this week was kind of just like, well, last week was getting punched in the face. This week was getting like punched in the stomach.
Yeah. And no matter how much you prep for it, like, you're ready. But yeah, sometimes writers of shows just suck at writing their shows. But yeah, we should probably just jump in. The non-Samantha plots this week were like mostly fine. But I guess we should just jump in because that's the only way we can really do this. So we start out this week with Charlotte, and so she's out with this guy Brad on their first date, and they're having their first kiss, and everything seems great. Then he starts licking her face.
Yeah,
just
like not
full on. Yep.
Up to the nose is where we're going. He's going everywhere but the lips, like the teeth. The chin, the nose, but not actually in her mouth.
Nowhere even close to her mouth, and Charlotte's just like, what the fuck is actually happening? Okay, have you ever had just like an absolutely terrible kisser? Like, not this bad, probably.
No, this is beyond bad. I mean, I think everyone's had a bad kiss, but like it's just been like, oh, we're not really on the same like kissing wavelength, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're like a little bit washing machine, but not like to the point where I've really had to make a statement on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've never had a case where I've like needed to say something, for sure. I feel like I've had like maybe one person who was just like not. Definitely just like, it wasn't just like a one-off, oh, you were bad. It was like more than one time bad.
Yeah.
And I felt like it's like I wasn't going to say anything, but at the same time, it's like our teeth are clashing together. So that's a problem.
Oh.
Like that shouldn't happen very often.
That shouldn't happen like regularly.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't happen regularly. So thankfully that's not a problem anymore. Yeah. But so the girls are at dinner and Charlotte starts talking about this tooth-looking man, and so they start talking about bad kissers and how it's like really the worst. Like, I mean, Samantha does bring up though, well, I mean, it's kind of even worse when they just let their tongue lie there and just not do anything at all.
Yeah, that one's lazy in my opinion.
I did very much like her saying, well, what do you think their dick's gonna do? So
yeah,
good point.
Yeah, I think being like I don't really care if you're a mediocre kisser, but like a terrible one is obviously an issue.
Yeah, like if a guy was licking my chin, or well, like anyone, it doesn't have to be a guy, if someone of any gender is licking my chin and licking my teeth and licking my nose while we're kissing, like that is gonna be a deal breaker for me. Like, yeah. Charlotte's kind of like, what, like you'd really just dump a guy for being a bad kisser? And it's like, okay, this guy isn't a bad kisser. This guy is like fully gonna eat your face. So yeah. It's bad.
Yeah, but then we're at like a trendy restaurant. We're at a place called Fusion. The chef is called Adina, and she like comes out and she's like, ladies, I'm gonna have to ask you to quiet down. Like, she seems super cool, and apparently it's like like a blend of like soul food and then like traditional sort of high cuisine.
Yeah, I would definitely eat her. It sounds good.
Oh, hell yeah. She's got okra. I love okra.
Uh-huh, it's good shit.
Mm.
Yeah, and yeah, it kind of seems like she already knows them a little bit. I don't know, because
Yeah.
the way she comes over and talks to them casually, I don't know if they really say how they know her, but
I think
but
she might
it's
be Carrie's
casual.
friend or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, they might know each other. I don't know. I don't know how Carrie knows anybody, but
But yeah, she comes over and she talks to them, and then her brother comes over, Siobhan, who I thought was called Siobhan for like 5 minutes.
yeah.
It's like, it's not an Irish woman's name.
Yeah, I had to like look it up
Same.
because I was also thinking Siobhan like the Irish name, but it's spelled like Chivon, I guess. So,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
And he comes over and he is like flirty with Samantha. He's like, didn't I see you at a record party? And it's all heating up. He has like earrings, which becomes for some reason like a trait.
Yeah, this is like a plot point. Not a plot point, but like it is something that keeps getting brought up over and over again, I guess, for some
like,
reason.
yeah, but he's black, so you know it's going to be a thing.
Yeah, pretty much, because it's like not possible for them to have people on the show who aren't white without it being a thing. So
Yeah. So essentially, he asks Samantha out, and she says yes, and then like Adina and him go away, and we get this surprise to me. Charlotte is like very PC.
yeah, she is kind of, she tells Samantha she's being politically incorrect. Yeah, so far it's kind of Samantha saying, you know, he's a fine-looking man, I want some of that.
It's like not egregious like AVE. It's like
no, yeah,
she's not being too over the top, but like she is sort of. She says it's black talk, and Charlotte's like,
yeah.
chill out. You spoke to one black guy. You don't need to start talking like a completely different person.
Yeah, because that's the thing is, it's like Samantha doesn't normally talk like that, which is why it's weird. Yeah, and she says it's not black talk; it's sex talk. Charlotte says African American, and then they get into how Miranda says Samantha's an equal opportunity offender, which is, I hate that phrase.
Oh yeah, Samantha is the type of person to say she's not racist because she hates everyone.
Yeah, exactly. She's very like, Samantha probably watches South Park. And Samantha says she doesn't see color, of course. She sees conquests.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's not, it's just like, I mean, we're getting into the same thing last week of like, it's the 90s.
Yeah, like they think they're being edgy but also progressive at the same time, when really they're just being edgy.
And not even like fun edgy, just boring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it for now for that. And then we go to Carrie. The next morning in Carrie's apartment, Stanford's at her door, and he basically says there's this beautiful man downtown selling furniture, and we need to go see him. She's just like, I have stuff to do. But then he shows her a picture and says he's straight, and then she's immediately just like, okay, we're going.
Yeah, I need my friends to do this for me.
Yeah.
Just
right?
So yeah, they go down. Oh, and we get like a slur from Stanford, which was a bit jarring.
Yeah, we did get that. And this is our introduction to Aidan.
Yeah,
we have talked about Aidan a little bit in the past. So if people are wondering who we've been talking about, this is him, and he's here.
Should we describe him a little bit? Because
yes, absolutely.
He's definitely like a character. So we get like a slow-mo shot of Aidan and his dog, and he's like, you know, roughing up his little ears. It's very cute. And Aidan is like a tall guy, and he's wearing like double denim and
I love it.
Turquoise jewelry. He loves like weird bohemian outfits and then turquoise jewelry.
Yep.
So, like, that's the type of man we're going for the opposite of Big, but he is also quite tall.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's very different from Big because he's kind of like he's still a successful guy. He's not like Wall Street rich successful like Big is, but he's, you know, he's clearly got this like successful business, except for it's more of like a hands-on type job because he's like makes furniture. He loves dogs, clearly. He's got like quite a bit of hair. Like it's not long, but it's, you know, it's kind of shaggy-ish.
He's the creative type. He's a bit more like relaxed and bohemian, and he's, you know, he's cool as opposed to Big, who's kind of, and also Aidan tends to be like a lot nicer.
Yeah, Aidan is a lot nicer. The thing about Aidan is I feel like a lot of people when they watch the show tend to give Aidan so much credit for being, you know, like a decent guy, being like, oh my god, like a Carrie and Aidan, like she just, like, he's just so good for her. And it's like, I mean, the bar is real low here. Like, he's a decent guy. I think he's a good guy for sure, but it's not like he's like, he's not this like exceptional guy.
He's a straight white guy. The bar is on the floor.
Yes, exactly. But that being said, I do like him. I think he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's just, I mean, I feel like he's too good for Carrie, but that's just because Carrie is like, you know, Carrie.
Oh yeah, the right opinion is that Big is perfect for Carrie because he's also shit. Like, they deserve each other.
Yeah, they really do deserve each other. They're both awful.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Carrie kind of sees him across the room, and his dog runs over to Carrie and just climbs all over her, and Carrie's very much just like, what do? Like,
well, he's kind of humping her leg.
Oh, yeah, he very much is. And he's like a medium-sized dog, too, so.
I don't know what he is. I'm not the best with dogs, but he's like a little friend.
Yeah, he's a friend, and that's his official breed. He's like, he looks like some kind of mix to me, but yeah, I love him. I love Pete the dog.
Oh, so Pete is such a good name for a dog.
I love it. It's really good. And Aidan comes over to get Pete and kind of just says, oh, well, you know, he picks the best looking ladies. And Carrie's kind of, she's flattered but also humiliated.
Yeah. He, you know, they start flirting, and he like takes her over to one of his chairs and like grabs her hand and puts it on it. It's very with his close up of his rings, because this man he wears rings, multiple.
It's good.
Yeah. And then she like sort of blushes and like pulls her hand away, and it's very cute.
It's cute, but she's immediately like, I'll buy it. And it's like $5,000 or something. She doesn't even know what it is.
No, she didn't know what it was. She turns over the tag and it's $3,000 or something.
Oh, it's $3,000. Okay, still.
Yeah. And then like Stanford earlier had told her to say that she's a designer so that she'll get a discount. And she still gets, and like she's talking to him and he says, okay, so with the designer discount and, you know, you being humiliated, like, here's the final number, and shows it to her, and it's like, ooh. And then they go on and like they schedule a date. It's great.
Yeah, it's cute. They clearly both like each other. So that's good for now. Good for you, Carrie. You've picked up a cutie.
Yeah.
Then we get Miranda and Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, so like Miranda comes into her apartment, and I just want to say she's wearing a super cute outfit. There's some outfits this episode.
There's also a couple that I really didn't like to see, but you know.
Yeah, so she's wearing like a neon and green and blue print wrap skirt, and then like a graphic tee, and she looks super fucking cool. I love a graphic tee and a high-waisted skirt, I have to say.
It looked really good to me.
Yeah, and she comes in and Steve's there, and he's like, oh, do you want to do your accent?
Yeah, he's basically just like, Miranda, my name was drawn to make a half-court shot at the Knicks game for $500,000.
Oh, yeah, I think it's actually a straight million.
Oh, sorry, it is $1 million. Yeah, it's a half-court shot for $1 million, Miranda.
And Miranda's like, oh, okay, that's great.
But don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, he's like really excited about it, and it's Miranda, so she's not. And he's like, oh, why don't you come watch me shoot hoops? Which is just the most boring thing I can fucking imagine.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, I'm better than you think. Come watch me shoot hoops. And she's just like, okay. You know, just it's a really hard shot to make, so don't get your hopes up.
Just watch him by himself practice free throws.
Yeah.
Not even playing a game or like with his friends, like just shooting.
This is one of those episodes where I feel like Steve is right in this episode, but at the same time his reactions are very bad.
Oh my god, he reacts like a toddler.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Miranda is in the wrong, but there's different ways to approach it. But we'll get there.
Anyway, he's like shooting. He shoots a ball to the he throws it against the wall in her apartment, which is such a fucking rude thing to do. And she apparently has Black Floron paint.
Yeah, she's like, excuse me, what are you doing? And yeah, he just is very, fine to just bounce the basketball all around her apartment. And I'm like, do you not live above somebody? Like, I don't know, but
basketball, it's fucking loud.
No, it's loud, and it's like, if it goes out of the way, it's gonna knock something over. Like, boys. So we go back to Siobhan and Samantha, and they have gone uptown to some club because he is thinking about signing some artist there.
Yeah, she gets scanned at the door for like weapons, presumably. And she's loving being with the urban youth.
Yeah, I think that this club has more black people in it than we've seen in the entire show before.
There's so many black people. How did they find them in New York City?
Right? Like, this is surprising to me. And I don't know. I feel like they don't really spend that long actually in the club, but it's mostly just they end up back at Samantha's house and they've slept together, and she actually asks him to stay the night, which is super rare for her to do because, normally she's kind of just like, fucking Chuck. So.
Yeah. And, they're talking about his earrings that he got at Tiffany's. And they're just, they're doing like a little pillow talk. I mean, usually we see Samantha like getting dick down. It's very rare to see her having an actual like tender moment with someone. And they seem to be getting along.
Yeah, it seems like good so far.
What could go wrong?
Oh yeah, what could possibly happen, dear writers who wrote the show? So then we go back to Carrie and Aidan. They've had their first date. They're sitting on Carrie's iconic steps. And she finally confesses that she's not a designer, like she's a writer and she just wanted a discount. But then she pulls out a cigarette and asks like, "Oh, are you upset?" And he's not upset about the news, but he is upset that she's a smoker.
Yeah. He is like, "Do you smoke often?" She's like, "No." Lies.
Oh yeah, lies. Only lies coming from her mouth. So, she throws it on the ground. She's just like, "Oh, see, no big deal. It's fine." They kiss, and he's just like, "I can still taste that cigarette." And she goes for a mint, and when she's going for it, he kind of is just like, "Look, I can't really date a smoker." So,
okay, so here's where I may be controversial, but I think that he's kind of annoying with this. Like, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to be like, I don't like smoking, and smoking it's a nasty habit, and it's very pointless because it's like weird. You just get addicted to it. It doesn't really do anything, but you're like, I need to have a cigarette or else I will die. But
yeah.
But like, it's kind of, I feel like the way he's just like, ugh, I'll never date a smoker. It's just like, come on, dude. It's the 90s. You can still smoke in fucking restaurants. Chill out.
It's the 90s. I've never dated a smoker before. I don't know what that would be like. I don't know what it is like to kiss someone whose mouth tastes like cigarettes, I guess. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's one of those things. Like, everyone has their different deal breakers. For some people, it's, it could be smoking. Like, I'm sure my deal breaker sounds stupid to someone else, but
What's your deal breaker?
I don't know. Like, again, I guess my version of a smoker would be someone who eats meat. Like,
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't really want to kiss someone who just eaten steak. Like, that sounds kind of gross to me. But I wouldn't,
that's fair.
But, like, I wouldn't, like, tell them to stop. I'd just be like, hey, can you, have a mint?
Yeah, it might be kind of like, can you not do it around me?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like, I think even like with being like a vegetarian or vegan, like in a similar way, it also means that like you make different lifestyle choices when you're around certain people. So like if I was, gonna cook dinner for my boyfriend, if he was vegetarian, obviously I'm not gonna make it with meat in it, right?
No.
Like, so if I was dating someone and I was a smoker, I would probably not smoke like with them.
Yeah, and I think there's like a difference between someone who smokes like 40 a day and someone who has a couple cigarettes. I mean, Carrie is the type of person who probably stinks of smoke.
Oh yeah, she probably reeks. Like, I have no idea how he didn't already know she was a smoker because I'm sure she stinks.
And if they're going out to, I mean, presumably they went out to like dinner or something.
I'm sure.
You would think she would just sit. I mean, like I said, you could smoke in restaurants. She's probably sitting there smoking.
Yeah, no kidding. Carrie is very crushed by this. She's crushed that her crush has said this. And she does keep referring to him as a crush. I guess we skipped the scene where she tells Miranda she has a crush.
Yeah.
Which is very, like... I did love that because she's like, I think I have a crush. It's, the first time since Big. And Miranda's like, I haven't had a crush in years. And Carrie's like, what about Steve?
I feel like... I do feel like a crush is a different thing. Like, a crush is, like, kind of playful. Like, I don't know. I get crushes where I'm like, I think they're cute, but I'm not going to ask them out.
I feel like a crush is almost kind of like, maybe not necessarily unrequited, but it's like, it's kind of something where you go home and you think about it, but like whether you're going to tell them about your feelings or not, you haven't yet, probably.
No. And you're not maybe planning to. It's just kind of like, I think my yoga instructor's really cute. As opposed to like, I saw a guy at the bar and I'm going to go talk to him because I think he's cute. But yeah, this is also the scene on the steps is the one where she's wearing a gown, the cowhide jacket, and then cowboy boots. And this is like, I'm feeling very cowgirl at the moment. I'm feeling the yeehaw agenda. And this is like such a look.
It is a look. I don't know if I feel the cowhide jacket.
No,
I do appreciate the boots. But...
I'm gonna pretend it's fake. I know those boots are almost definitely leather. I'm going to pretend the jacket is fake.
You're valid.
Yeah. I'm gonna pretend it's fake and not like $5,000. Just for my own sanity. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the scene. Like it's just Carrie being upset. And then we get our question of the week when she goes inside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she goes inside and she just smokes up a fucking chimney in her apartment. Like, she's smoking and smoking and smoking, and she starts to wonder, when did dating become so dump friendly? Too long don't read, stuff like smoking used to be kind of one part of your portfolio. And she's kind of like, I feel like that should be negotiable. Like, that's just one part of the package. And she compares partners to liquidating stocks.
Yeah, maybe she dated Big for too long.
I think she did. Yeah. Any amount is too long. But the question is, in relationships, what are the deal breakers?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like deal breakers are a personal thing. I think there are there are universal deal breakers, I would imagine. But I feel like everyone has their own thing, which is just immediate cut off. Yeah,
I mean... There's a few things I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, if you don't mow hay, you can go away. What are some of the other ones? I don't know. I feel like there's not any, like, when I was, like, teenager, I remember being like, I would never date someone who's never read Harry Potter before, because I was, like, 14 or something stupid.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm like, oh, it would be weird to date someone who didn't want to talk about Pokemon with me, but it wouldn't be a deal breaker.
I think my only like deal breakers are really like political.
Yes.
Like that's it. Like someone who, or like, someone who's just a rude and an asshole. Like obviously someone who is shows like abusive traits. As in maybe they're not actually abusive, but they get angry very suddenly and like do things quickly. Like that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, people with a temper for sure.
Yeah, someone who, someone who very clearly has an issue that, I mean, because everyone has issues, but I'm like, oh, I'm not equipped to deal with you drinking every day. Maybe I should bounce, that sort of thing. And then, like political, like, you're a Nazi. I mean, I doubt they'd want to date me, but then there is that Proud Boy who's married to a black woman.
Yeah.
And they have kids, and I'm like, really, like, can I adopt those kids so they have a bit of self-love? Because I really don't think Nazis should be having black children. That's just my onion.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't have any children, but especially, that's especially one that's big. Yeah, political deal breakers are huge. Like, even if you were like, yeah, I vote like, I guess no one votes Republican here. If someone was like, oh, yeah, I voted conservative, I'd be like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. Actually, that was a deal breaker for me once. I had been chatting with this girl on Tinder, and she was even a mom, and that hadn't been a deal breaker for me. I was like, that's, like, I don't really want to become a stepmom, but, yeah. But then it was like, then I had like seen on her Facebook page that she was, it said that she was socially liberal, fiscally conservative, and that she had voted conservative. And it was basically like, this is how the Canadian Conservative Party can, get back at it for the next federal election and win this time. And I was like, immediately stopped talking to her.
Yeah, I'm not, official stance of the podcast, no fucking Tories.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, because, like, I've been using Hinge more than Tinder recently, and that you can put your political beliefs, but it's only, like, it's conservative, moderate, and then liberal and other. So, like, other is vague, because for all I fucking know, they could be a libertarian or they could be, like, a communist. Like, it's a roll of the dice. I don't know what I'm getting if you say other, right?
Yeah.
I think I put liberal. Just because, like, I mean, technically, I probably am more socialist than liberal, but, like, I mean, pedantic for a fucking dating app.
True.
But when someone has, like, moderate or conservative, I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So you stand for nothing. Well, conservatives do stand for shitty things. It's liberals who stand for nothing. So the moderates, yeah.
Yeah. So I just think it's peculiar. And I guess, like, the other thing would be someone who is, like, particularly religious, just because I'm not, and, like, there's a point where it's like, oh, if we were to get together, then you'd probably want me to be, like, your religion, and I'm probably not going to find anything in it, and I don't so, like, someone, it's just sort of anyone who I just can't gel with, which isn't really, I sound like I have a lot of red flags, but these are probably just everyone's, I would imagine, I think
it's just kind of like, we should we should have similar things. We should have similar lifestyles is the thing.
And by, like, religion, I mean, if you're, like a conservative Catholic, you're probably not gonna like me.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could date someone who is religious, but not someone who is, very strictly religious, I think.
Yeah.
Or someone who,
You're probably not going to like when I ask if we use a condom if you're a Catholic.
Yeah. So yeah, what are the deal breakers? And then we cut right to Charlotte and Brad again. And Charlotte's kind of trying to train him. It's like he's a dog. Like, she's basically just like, I think it's really sexy when you lightly touch your lips to mine and don't eat my entire face.
She's being so specific. She's like, when you lightly brush your lips against mine, and then I like it when you lightly press your lips against mine. It's and
so kissing.
Yeah. And they start doing, the actual technical thing, and then he goes back to licking her face.
Yeah, he just goes right back at it, and Charlotte's just like, I can't do this. Like, you're a bad kisser. She just straight up tells him, and he says, come on, it's my thing. Which,
you don't have a thing. Like, how are you a 30-year-old man? You think you have a thing? Like, how many women has he dated who like just deal with him licking their face?
I have no idea, but it's disgusting. And I'm sure he's heard this before, and he's just like, just what I do. I love it. I love to lick your face. It's like, yeah.
I am so curious as to what he's like in bed, because can you imagine someone on top of you just licking your face? That sounds disgusting.
And it doesn't even look like he's like if he likes to lick, that could be good, but it looks like the way he's doing it, not gonna be good. So
no, take our word for it. And then she's like, what the fuck? And just dumps him, more or less.
Pretty much. She pretty much dumps him on the spot because that's her deal breaker. We got a really fun Stanford scene. I thought this was hilarious. The later scene is hilarious. This one is just fucking weird, but also kind of funny. He met this designer guy, I guess, at the furniture place with Carrie.
Yeah, Marty.
Yeah, and okay, so they get back to this guy's bedroom, and his bed is covered in these China dolls. Like, covered. There's like 40 of these dolls or something on his bed.
And there's others around the room, and he takes Stanford over, and he shows him one of them, and he's like, this is the Queen of Siam. This is the Mary Queen of Scots. And it's just... I don't find these dolls creepy because I did have one as a kid. But
it's creepy to have this many.
No, I think I only had like a couple.
A couple is fine.
I had fucking Barbie dolls and Bratz. Like, I actually played with those.
These are very decorative. And the guy's like, oh, do you want to help me clear them off the bed? It's like, do you do this every day? Like, this is where it would make sense to fuck on the floor. Like,
true.
We always give Carrie shit about it. This is where it would make sense.
Like, fucking on the floor next to a bed. Really useless. But then, if you do have just an army of China dolls, then that would make sense. I mean, I find it weird. I find it weird when people do this, like people who collect dolls and shit, and they have them on their bed, because that just seems like effort. Like, how are you gonna wear? I don't even make my bed in the morning. I really don't.
Same. Yeah.
Because I'm fucking tired. I have shit to do. I want to have the extra 5 minutes of sleep. So, like, you're telling me this guy wakes up probably, like, 20 minutes early just to put the fucking dolls on his bed. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, it's such an ordeal to me. Like, and what happens if you come home drunk? Like, you're just gonna fall on your bed, and I just don't understand.
And, like, where do you put them? If you put them somewhere else, they can just be there.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. Like, even having throw pillows all over my bed would stress me out. Like, I'm extremely anti-bed making. I make my bed like once every 3 weeks.
Yeah. I make my bed when someone is going to be in my room, and that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Even then I might not. It's like, I'll make my bed when I wash my sheets. Pretty much.
Yeah. And then Stanford just kind of, blank suddenly. We cut away and we go to Samantha and Siobhan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're back at Fusion,
Yeah. And like Adina comes over and she's like, oh, hey, Siobhan, so-and-so's leaving now. Why don't you go say hello? I think it's their aunt.
Someone they know.
Yeah, she's like, why don't you go say goodbye? I'm going to talk to Samantha. And he's like, okay. And then she sits down. Also, this is like a packed restaurant, and she's the head chef, and she's just fucking wandering around. Also, with her hair down, which there's no fucking chef who has their hair down, but okay.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. And she comes over, and she's talking to Samantha, and she's like, and it's just the most. This is why we can't have nice things. But she's basically like, you're dating my brother, you're white, I don't want you to date a white girl, and that's that, so I'm not going to approve, so you might as well break up with him now.
Yeah, Samantha's kind of like, well, it's none of your business, we actually really like each other, and yeah, that's pretty much the scene, though. She just gets up and leaves and is like, look, his approval means a lot to me, and if I don't approve, then, well, it's not going to end well anyway. So.
I'm not saying this doesn't happen, because it does, but I think my issue is like, it's happened to my family, but the issue is that, like, why can't this character just date a fucking black person and it be treated the same as like it is with every other character in the show? Because there are literally there are 2 black boyfriends. I really don't think there's anyone else of any other race that, like, it's like a character, you know, has a name.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
We had the like Latino janitor. Oh no, wait, I think he was an Indian janitor, and we had like a Latino janitor. And it's like, well, why can't someone just have a fucking boyfriend who's black and it just not be an issue?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of, it's impossible for them to do it without making it a thing.
And it's like, it wouldn't be as jarring if they just dated an assortment of guys, because like we're saying, it's New York City. It's one of the most diverse places in the world. Like, why aren't they dating? Like, why aren't their friends different races? Like, this is also one of the few times we see them with a black friend. Like, it's just weird and like forced. And it's not really, it's not the show, I think, to be tackling interracial dating.
No, not at all. No, not from this perspective. It's very, yeah, it's not handled very well for the story they're trying to tell. So we go to brunch and we kind of get Samantha saying, you know, Adina doesn't approve, but she's really upset about it because she really likes Siobhan, so
yeah, she's
trying to figure out what to do about it. And also Carrie's outfit is hideous. I really hate it.
Yeah, she's really into the flower brooch this season.
I hate it.
Yeah. So what do we talk about? Oh, we get like we just kind of, this is sort of the barrage of like aggressions.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on here.
Like, okay, we get like a 1-2 punch. So they start talking, you know, Samantha's like, oh, he has the biggest, and then Charlotte's like, big black cock. He's got a big black cock, and it's like, oh god.
Just like, Charlotte, just chill. Like
maybe don't start talking about cocks. Like, don't start shouting about fucking cocks in a goddamn brunch. Like, I mean, also, you know, whittling people down to their genitals is like maybe not something we should do.
Yeah, like it would make sense if Samantha had said that and then Charlotte was like, Jesus Christ, Samantha, can you not? But she didn't even say it. Yeah,
I mean, exactly. Samantha is the type of person to talk about a boyfriend's penis at brunch, and then Charlotte is the one to be like, don't do that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to eat. And then we see that Charlotte has like a bruise, like a hickey on her chin.
Oh yeah, full on hickey on her chin. It's really bad.
And then she's like, oh yeah, he raped my face. And it's like, oh, don't say that.
Yeah, really shouldn't say it that way.
Even if she said like assaulted or attacked or something, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But like,
yeah, the word use is bad. It's like they're like, this just doesn't sound like something Charlotte would say.
No,
like she's not the edgy one. And,
no, she would say like, oh, he hit my, like, he sucked on my face or something. It's weird. Like, Charlotte is just written by someone else this week. She doesn't seem like herself at all.
No.
And like, this is just the fucking worst. Like, everyone is just. I've written something and I can't read it. So that's great. Oh, give up smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, because well, Samantha says she's not going to back down. And then Carrie's like, me too. I'm not going to back down either. I'm not just going to give up smoking for some guy. Which, okay, this isn't about you, but sure. And Miranda's like, you're going to pick smoking over a cute guy? Really? Like, really?
Yeah, I mean... I feel like Samantha's problem is a little bit more serious.
I think so, yeah.
Her boyfriend's sister is like pretty much threatening their relationship, and then Carrie's like, I've been on one date and I don't want to quit smoking.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, even Charlotte's problem is more serious than this. Like, she had her face sucked. Come on.
Like, how?
And the girls are kind of, yeah.
How hard did he suck her face? Because it's a huge hickey.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you have to kind of go for a bit to leave a mark. So, I don't know. And you think she would cover it up with makeup. Like, you know, Charlotte's the kind of person who does wear makeup. And it's not that hard to cover up a hickey.
No.
Like, but...
No, get some green concealer on that bitch.
Exactly.
But yeah, they're talking, and basically all the girls kind of just looking at Carrie, and they're pretty much like, yeah, we don't like you smoking, but we just put up with it. Because we never see any of them smoke.
Oh, yeah, none of them smoke. Like, Samantha has smoked weed a couple times, but she doesn't smoke cigarettes.
No.
Like,
It's like us.
yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, they're like, they're pretty much saying to her, like, maybe you should just take this as an opportunity to quit because this guy is nice and it's not healthy. And we don't like it.
And then Carrie does reconsider it pretty quick after, because, like, her and Stanford later are smoking in her apartment, and Carrie's just going on. Yeah, they're just smoking like crazy. Like, I feel like the smoke is so dramatically in front of them.
Oh my god, yeah, it jump cuts to them like sitting next to each other, like smoking, like they're on drugs. Like, just, like,
yeah, pretty much.
Like at 3:00 in the morning when you've been out all night drinking and you're just chain smoking in the fucking area of a club. Like, that's what they're doing, but it's inside at her apartment.
Yeah, it's like they're hotboxing her living room, except for not with weed,
well,
with like nicotine.
All the fucking blinds are closed. Like, it really does look like they're on a bender, you know. And then they're like drinking these cocktails, and they're like, "What's wrong with smoking? I like smoking."
Yeah, what's their problem with it? It never killed anybody. And fucking, I don't know. Stanford's like saying, you know, that was it for me with that guy and his dolls. Like, I can't do it. And Carrie's like, well, you know, maybe we shouldn't be so serious about these deal breakers. Maybe you should give him another shot. Meh, 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 meh. And then she's like, I think I might try to quit until I know what's up with this guy and see if I like him. So I guess she's kind of come around on it a little bit.
It's weird. Like, yeah, it's good. And then we go to Steve, don't we?
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. This scene sucked ass.
It fucking sucked. Like, this is the point where I was like, okay, well, Steve is, you know, right about this. Miranda is being, like, she's not being supportive. And then I'm like, oh, okay, fuck you. Okay, so she's at, like, her desk, and she's working, and then Steve comes, he's like, oh, you want to go shoot hoops? And she's like, I have a deadline, you know, this has to be done by Monday, I really need to work. And he gets so aggressive. He
flies off the handle.
Yeah, he's shouting. He throws his basketball, which, like we said, don't throw basketballs in people's apartments. So he's throwing it around, he's shouting at her, he's like, this happens so often, like, whether it's moving in, like, I asked you to do one thing, I've gone to so many lawyer events, like, yeah, he's gone to fancy cocktail parties. You're talking about going to a fucking basketball court, like, not even a court, like a fucking cement, like the one from Space Jam, where Charles Barkley, when he loses his mojo, and then he goes to, like, the woman, like, the outdoor court where the women are playing, and they're like, they, like, tell him he sucks.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is.
You know that scene from Space Jam? Everyone go watch Space Jam. It's a great film.
Space Jam's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's, like, really losing his temper with her, and she's still keeping her cool, and she's like, why are you so mad?
Yeah. Like, the thing is, okay, Miranda hasn't shown even a single bit of enthusiasm about it, and you can tell she is the kind of person who's, you know, she's a realist or a pessimist, and she doesn't really give Steve the time of day with the stuff he cares about, but there is no excuse for men to yell like this.
True. Like, I mean, Steve isn't the most intimidating man in the world, but, like, at the same time, if you're, like, anyone is fucking yelling at you like this, like, it's not cool.
No, and he's basically throwing a tantrum. Like, when you throw something and you're yelling and stuff, like, it's just, I mean, first of all, just men doing that in general, even if they're people like Steve, it's still very, like, please don't do this. You're like, kind of frightening me. I don't like to be yelled at. But it's just like, there's different ways to approach the situation. Like, you can say the same thing in a calm voice. You can not throw the ball. And Miranda might come around and realize, you know, it's kind of ridiculous that maybe I never ever support anything you do. But, like, it's Steve be an adult, basically.
Yeah,
is the thing.
and I mean, she is kind of right that, like, it's It's not a realistic goal at all.
No, like he's obviously not going to win $1 million. Like he's obviously not going to do it. I feel like if it was me and I got that opportunity, I'd be excited just to be able to like be the center of attention.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, the issue is that she never supports him, and like she should at least not immediately be like, don't get excited, like you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Like don't immediately tell someone they're gonna fail.
Yeah, especially your partner who you're, you know, like the job is to support each other. Even if the goal is unrealistic, it's like, you know, they know it's an unrealistic goal. Like just support him. But
yeah.
Yeah,
and he storms off.
Though. Mm-hmm.
And then we see him on the set of Space Jam, and Miranda shows up, and this fucking sucks. Like, I fucking hated this. So she's like, go on, get him, Tiger. She's talking to him like he's a child, I guess because he acted like one.
Yeah, no, you gotta.
Yeah, and she's like, this is like, my parents cheer me on at sports day. I never played a sport, so they didn't cheer me on for anything. But like, yeah, she's like, go get him, you can do it, you know, woo, like, ugh.
Yeah. And he's just making these shitty shots, and he's not getting like any of them in. And yeah, we've learned that he never made the shot at the thing. Like he didn't win, but you know, Miranda showing up made him feel like $1 million.
Surprise! So, this fucking Revenge of the Nerds looking motherfucker couldn't shoot the fucking from the halfway line. Like, as Miranda says, she's like, there are Knicks who can't do that.
Yeah, she very much does say that, and she's right. Like, yeah.
But it just, all that matters is that, you know, Miranda was supporting him, and that's the end of them.
Yeah, that's their whole story for the week. Then we go back to Carrie and Aidan, and so Carrie shows up to Aidan's work and is like, I'm gonna try to quit smoking, I want to try to make this work. And she shows him there's no cigarettes in her purse, and then he's like, oh, well, why don't we go out for coffee? And they have, like, Carrie calls it the world's longest date, because they go for coffee, it turns into a movie, and then it's nighttime, and like Carrie's like vein kid meme about needing a cigarette, like she's bursting, like you can see the vein in her head.
I will also say her handbag is a Dior saddlebag, which is very on trend right now. If anyone wants to buy it for me, I will DM you my PayPal link.
It was very cute to me. I did think it was a very nice bag.
Yeah. So yeah, and she's like, sort of like, you know, everything is making her want to have a cigarette. She hears coffee and wants a cigarette, and then she's like, oh, if I eat, I'm gonna want to have a cigarette. Yeah. Then she realizes, you know, sort of, if she breaks up with him and leaves, just how much she's losing out on for one cigarette.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I do think it was really funny when, like, they're walking down the street and there's, like, someone smoking right in front of them as they're walking, and Carrie just, like, inhales all the smoke as it comes out. Like, literally, that's been me before. Because, like, I don't smoke, but, like, I have smoked. And, like, the thing is, if you enjoy the smell, it is nice to walk behind someone who's smoking and just breathe it in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I related to that.
And then we go back to Stanford, and he's at Marty's place, and they're in their underwear.
This was a scene. I loved this.
This was art house cinema. So basically, Marty's like talking about the fucking dolls again, and Stanford just decides to kiss him because he's horny, and they start making out on the bed, and like everything's going well, and then a foot kicks off one of the dolls.
And it breaks. I can't get the image out of my head of them on the bed, and they show like a close-up of the dolls as the bed goes up and down, and their eyelids are just bouncing up and down, like open and closed. It's so funny the way they shoot it.
It's so good. And then it turns out that a broken face is a deal breaker for Marty.
Yeah, bye-bye Stanford.
And
then, okay, so that's it for Stanford. He's done now. And then we go back to Samantha and Siobhan they're at some club and they're dancing. And Adina shows up, yeah.
Oh, Samantha is wearing, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's wearing like a bejeweled, sort of like iridescent dress. Okay. She's wearing
It's
like
good.
a bejeweled iridescent dress with like waist-high splits and then like matching underwear.
Uh-huh. It's a look, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, so she looks great, and then Adina shows up and basically sends Siobhan away.
Yeah, because when she shows up, he's like, oh, so what's my favorite girl drinking? And at the same time, they both say champagne.
I mean, who isn't drinking
Awkward.
champagne?
True. It's just so awkward that they both answer. And yeah, when he leaves...
It's that Tumblr post where it's like, you're at the dinner table with your boyfriend and your father, and you say, would you like some gravy, Daddy? And then both of them say yes.
Yeah, it's the same. Oh, I hate that.
Me too, but I need to bring it up. So yeah, he goes away to get them a drink. And then like basically they confront each other, and like Adina's basically taken that. She's like, look, he's gonna do whatever I say, so fucking break up with him, and then
yeah, she also says like, I don't care how many Jennifer Lopez dresses you own, you don't belong here. This is the second
a very
time
Jennifer.
it is. Oh, I was gonna say this is the second time they've brought up Jennifer Lopez in this episode, and they make it sound like it's, I don't know, like they keep bringing up Jennifer Lopez related to Black people, but Jennifer Lopez is like Puerto Rican. It seemed like they were trying to make a connection with those, but
I think because at the time she was probably dating P. Diddy.
Possibly, yeah.
And she was wearing those like Versace dresses that were like super skimpy.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the connection, but also she's from the Bronx and is Puerto Rican. She's not a fucking rich white lady, so like it doesn't really add up. Like I guess JLo was different when she was dating like Ben Affleck as opposed to P. Diddy.
Mm-hmm,
but like
true.
It's a weird comparison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what they were going for, but all right.
Yeah, and then they start like full on catfighting.
Yeah.
Basically Samantha walks away for a second, and then she's like, and she has a moment, she's like, wait, and we hear Carrie's voice over, and she's like, Samantha had stood up to loudmouth bitches before. So yeah. So they're fighting, and then Siobhan comes over and breaks it up, and we pretty much cut away.
Yeah, so that's it for now. And then we go back to Carrie and Aidan. They went for dinner, and so Carrie's dying because they've basically gone out for dinner on top of their, drinks and movie. And basically it's been 7 hours and she's dying to leave for her emergency cigarette, and the waiter asks if she wants to see the dessert menu. Aiden's just like, oh yeah, I'll take a look. And then Carrie freaks the fuck out and she's like, I got a deadline. Oh my god, I gotta leave. Like, oh my god, holy shit, I forgot I have a deadline. I can't stay. Like, you have dessert. I'm gonna go. And then she just runs out without her jacket. Just she leaves her jacket behind, runs out, and she just deep dives into her purse for a cigarette like it's heroin or something, and she hasn't gotten high, and like it's like the way she goes for it, she's like she is hurting for the cigarette. Like,
well, she drops it and then like it's on the floor and it gets wet, so she has to rip off the end, and it's like fucking train spotting.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
And then Aidan, like, she's lighting it, and she's like in the literal gutter. And Aidan comes out, and he's like, everything okay?
Yeah. So he's basically just like, yeah, we're gonna have a problem because of the smoking. And she makes this guilty face at him that lasts like 5 seconds. Like, she just keeps making this, oh, you got me, I'm guilty. Like, it's kind of painful to watch. This episode was already like 31 minutes long, so it's like, did you really need to show me that many seconds of it? But
editing is important.
Editing is important. Yeah. I should be one to talk. I'm like, I'm gonna leave everything in when I edit these episodes.
Same. I'm like, I think I cut maybe 2 things that just didn't really work last week, and
yeah. That's it.
I somehow cut a nearly 2-hour-long episode into an hour and 30 minutes.
It worked. Back to Samantha and Siobhan for one last scene, and it basically he's saying, Adina's always going to be my number one. Like, it's just us, after our parents died. So, she has her issues, but, her opinion means a lot to me, basically. And so that's like his deal breaker for him.
Yeah. And then Samantha is, she just sort of realizes that, like, if he's not going to stand up for his sister, that's not the kind of man she wants to be with. If, he's not going to, like, protect her. Which I think is fair.
Yeah, I think like that's clearly going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Like, obviously they can't move forward. That's like going to be her deal breaker. So that's valid. Mm-hmm.
I feel like your sister fucking hates me is a pretty like valid reason not to date someone.
Yeah, especially if they're like close with their sister and actually get along with them and like respect their sister and stuff like that. Like,
exactly,
it's going to be a problem. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hates her for something she can't even change. And then even Samantha is like, look, if she got to know me and then hated me, whatever. It's just, again, like, this is just such a fucking weird storyline for this show.
It is. And yeah, like, it could have been worse, and it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. But at the same time, there were things they could have definitely done better. Like, Carrie's voiceover in this scene, I was like, did you really need to add that?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be like that episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians where, like, those rappers go to their house and then Kris Jenner's, like, rapping and throwing up, like, gang signs.
Oh my god, I haven't seen that. Jesus Christ.
It's like a really early episode, like before they were all routinely only dating black people.
Yeah.
Which, again, weird about the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Or I thought it'd be like a lot more fetishy, like we do have that thing with the BBC. But like I thought it would be like a recurring thing. I mean, it's still shit. I don't like it. But I was like, I mean, at least they break up because he's kind of a coward. But again, like, this is a weird storyline, and I mean, I'm not defending it, but I'll say, like, there's a different reason why a black person wouldn't want someone dating a white person as opposed to, the reasons why a white person wouldn't want to date a black person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which, like, we don't get into. She doesn't even have any reason. She's just like, I don't like white people.
Yeah, Sex and the City do a funny reverse racism.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised we didn't get that. I'm surprised we didn't get, like, this is reverse racism. This is just as bad as slavery.
Oh, my God. Thank God they didn't bring anything like that up.
But, like, yeah, no, they don't. She doesn't have any reason. Like, she doesn't get into, like, no, you won't understand. Like, you won't understand us or anything. She's just like, I don't like white people.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, she says at one point, you don't belong here at the club.
At the Black People
basically.
Club,
yeah, the club that they've never shown in the show before ever in their life because they only go to clubs that have all white people in them.
Yeah, maybe like one black person in the background.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's very jarring because there's only one black person.
Yeah, so it's very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was the end of their entire story. So that's done, finally.
Yeah.
And then we get one last scene with Carrie, and it's just her kind of looking in the mirror, and she's saying, we had some good times together, and she dumps all her cigarettes in the toilet and flushes them, and puts on a nicotine patch and says she hopes he's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really the start of a fucking hurricane. So
yeah, she's definitely not going to cheat on him with Big.
Oh, she would never do that. Like, Carrie's not a bad person, is she?
No.
Big's not a bad person. He's married.
Neither of them would ever cheat on someone. Not with each other.
Wait, Big, I mean, he only cheated that one time with his ex-wife.
True,
so...
he would never cheat again.
No, he would never cheat on a wife.
Just like how he would never get married again.
Yeah, men keep their word all the time. It's just a fact. So,
speaking of words, that wasn't a very good segue. Should we do our rankings?
We should. Fuck, I don't even know this week. This is a
toughie. It's a doozy. I mean, I feel like everyone kind of equals each other out. I guess, like, Charlotte was kind of just in it. Like, she wasn't really there, and then when she was there, she was just kind of weird.
Yeah, she wasn't written very well. I mean, I did think it was very funny that they, like, let someone do that to Kristin Davis's face. But and I respect her for, like, going through with that. But otherwise, I don't know. Like, Miranda's story sucked this week. None of it was good because I hate it when Miranda's wrong, but I also hate Steve. So it's like, I didn't like any of it. Carrie may have been the most valid this week just because she tried to do something good for something new in her life. Like, it's like she's trying to move past big for the first time and, like, actually be serious about it. So she's probably my top this week just for, doing something different. And Aidan's, kind of okay to see. So
yeah.
The rest, though, I feel like Samantha herself wasn't, like, bad, but the story was just so bad that I want to put her, like, at the bottom. Just, like, the story wasn't fun. Yeah.
No, and it was kind of nice to see Samantha, like, in an actual relationship with someone.
True, where she actually has feelings and stuff.
And isn't just, like, a horny sex monster.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, the storyline kind of sucked, so I feel like she is kind of near the bottom just for that reason. Although, no, alright, so I'm gonna say actually Miranda's third, because fuck Steve. Should have fucking dumped him as soon as he started throwing shit.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, fuck that. And then she goes and, like, he basically guilt trips her into coming to cheer for him, so.
And then, I guess that kind of forces Carrie to be at the top. Oh, I need to say something. Siobhan, did you recognize him?
Not really. Has he been in anything?
He has 5 credits, which is bizarre.
Okay.
The most important one to me, orange mocha frappuccinos.
Oh my god, is he seriously from that?
Yes!
Oh, that's so good to me.
I was like, because I thought I recognized Dina, but, like, she hadn't been in anything I've seen. So I was like, okay, well, I might as well see what his IMDb is like. And yeah, he's the other one. He's another one of the models who dies.
Oh my god. I should have known this. My fucking my fucking Instagram bio is Derek Zoolander's You Googly. So.
Oh my god, I watched it today, I was like, oh my god, that's him! Yeah, so there you go.
I'm so happy you told me that. That kind of made my day.
Yeah, I knew you would appreciate it.
I guess we can get into questions now. So if you want to send us a question, you can send it to citygirlsmakedo.tumblr.com/ask. This week we got a few questions. So the very first one is from friend of the show Haunting the Morgue on Tumblr. And they have asked, hey, so I can actually speak to the sock thing y'all were talking about last ep. That's a thing that I've heard both drag kings and usually early on trans masc people do it. Often it's because you are young and can't afford a packer. Charlotte and Boyfriend of the Week definitely could afford it and should have. Also, if you're not performing though, you don't go with a big honkin' one.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's good context for sure.
Is. Yeah, that would, I would imagine if you are using it as like a packer in place of an actual one, you wouldn't just like roll up a fucking thigh-high tube sock and use both of them and make it huge. You'd probably fold it in a way where it looks a bit more like a dick.
True. That makes sense. So that's pretty good context. Thank you, Morg, for the information. Because yeah, I didn't really know anything about this, so
yeah, a sock makes sense. I'm just like, yeah, I think we're talking about like cartoon penises, like super large bulges.
Yeah, I've never seen a penis that looks like a sock before, so
would love to see a knitted penis.
I would not. So
it'd be hard
if
to
you're
wash.
Gonna send those in, please send them to Alex, not me. So yeah, thank you, Morg, for letting us know. Our next question is from Tumblr user Jane Funda, who says, I'm so sorry you have to experience the 1-2 punch of Carrie dates a bisexual and then Samantha dates a black man. My question is, which is your favorite Kyle MacLachlan movie/show, and would you date 50-year-old Kyle?
Do you know what? we actually got through the episode pretty quick, which means that we can really talk about Kyle MacLachlan for like as long as we want.
Oh, I would love to.
So, all right, I think my favorite TV show, obviously, is Twin Peaks. And then my favorite movie is Showgirls. Thinking about doing a rewatch, so I'll rewatch it, and then when he shows up, I'll come through with all the quotes, all the references. I think it's just a great film.
I don't know if I've seen him in any movies because I haven't seen Showgirls. So
Patreon exclusive. Donate to our Patreon, and we'll do a.
We gotta now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have to because Patreon's holding everyone hostage.
I should watch Showgirls. I mean, technically, okay, I saw him in Fire Walk with Me, which is a movie, but he's barely in that. So
yeah, and it's like Twin Peaks. It's just if Twin Peaks was made now, then it would just be like a Game of Thrones style extra long episode.
I mean, Twin Peaks was made now, like a year ago.
Okay, shut up. If it was made originally now, if the first season of Twin Peaks was made in 2019.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the newest season of Twin Peaks was very, very, very had the same energy as Fire Walk with Me.
Yeah. Well, because like Twin Peaks, okay, so the original Twin Peaks is just like, I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's kind of just like a regular TV show that is kind of weird. But then what was it? The Return was like acid.
I feel like people sometimes give it too much credit.
Yeah.
I did think it was good. I do have the problem of thinking, David Lynch, can you please not torture a woman in every single scene?
Yeah, David Lynch is like, but what if I had this character get sexually assaulted? And you're like, do you have to?
Yeah, I don't think there's a single female character who hasn't been assaulted in the entire series. That being said, Shelley Johnson, I adore her to pieces, and I would die for Shelley Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, that is the issue. That's the issue with David Lynch in general, and male directors and writers in general, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I mean, the fucking episode 8, where it's just like,
yeah, honestly, I felt like that was like the best thing that aired on TV like the entire year that year.
Oh
like,
my god, yeah.
I loved it. It was so good.
I need
to
watch the Return.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've been thinking of doing Twin Peaks rewatch? Because like I had a habit of watching it like every Christmas, and then I didn't do it this Christmas, and now I'm like at the bit. I need to go to Washington State. I need to go to the sleepy town of Twin Peaks. I need to be around the waterfalls. I need to have that Julie.
It's my dream.
The Julie Christie soundtrack. Like, I'm just. Do you know? I would love to go to the Pacific Northwest and see you in summers, your country.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's amazing. I love the Pacific Northwest more than anything. I go home to BC and I step off the plane and I'm like, is this Twin Peaks? Literally, though, I do say that several times when I'm home. But yeah, one of my biggest dream vacations is absolutely to go to the falls and to go to like the R&R Diner.
Oh,
I want that so bad. Mm-hmm.
What if we're always like, oh yeah, like it would make sense. Like the halfway point for us would be to actually meet in New York. But what if we just went on like a Twin Peaks vacation?
Oh, that would rule. Oh, I would love it so much.
Oh, me too. Yeah, Dale Cooper is the like premier propaganda.
That's the thing about him, is that he's the only valid cop that's ever existed. Him and, okay, I have two other exceptions, and they're both from Pokemon. And Pokemon is from, like, a socialist utopia, so, like, I'm pretending that cops are different there. Looker from Pokemon is from the International Police, and Nanu is too. So, like, they're valid cops too, but, like, Pokemon is a different universe.
I thought you were going to say Mulder and Scully.
Oh, I haven't watched X-Files, so.
No, me neither, but I feel like I should. But, like, yeah, Twin Peaks is good. Okay, so Showgirls. Oh boy. He's not... The thing about Kyle MacLachlan in Showgirls is he's truly not... Like, he's not important. Like, he's a main character. He fucking sucks. Like, he's just not important. He's, like, a dickhead. It's one of the few roles where he's playing, like, a villain.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I would argue that he's almost like a villain in Sex and the City, but like not like a typical villain, but you're definitely not supposed to like him by the end of the show.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that's a showgirl spoiler, because he has like a stupid swoopy hairstyle which just screams like bad guy.
Oh, I need to see this just for his stupid hair.
It's always like, oh my god, he has some of the greatest sex scenes in that film. Which,
God.
like, thing is, Kyle MacLachlan is a very handsome man. I don't really see him as like a sexual. Like, I don't want to fuck
really.
Kyle MacLachlan. Like, you know,
Really?
I want him to take me out on a nice date, but like, I don't want to fuck him.
I think it depends on which Kyle MacLachlan we're talking about, because like
Yeah.
he's very handsome to me, and like I would go on a date with 50-year-old Kyle MacLachlan.
Oh yeah.
I'd rather go on a date with like Twin Peaks Kyle MacLachlan from like 1991.
Oh yeah, because then you know he's gonna age well.
But yeah, that's Twin Peaks is really the only thing I've watched him in other than Sex and the City, because like I've never watched Portlandia.
I watched Portlandia. Did you watch Desperate Housewives?
No, I didn't watch that.
He was kind of like a Trey in that. He kind of showed up and was like a recurring supporting character and then pissed off.
I just remembered he was also in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, when he was dating like a young woman.
Yeah, I mean, How I Met Your Mother fucking... It's a terrible show. He had a really good role on that, though, like, as the captain. Like, I watched that before I ever watched Twin Peaks, so, like, when I watched that, I remember just being like, oh my god, this is amazing, because I used to love How I Met Your Mother back when I was, like, 18.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he was really good in that role, even though the show itself kind of sucks.
Yeah, he was kind of like a shining light. That show was pretty terrible, but, like, I watched a lot of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen the whole series. Like, I'm not going to lie about that.
I'm looking at his IMDb now. The Flintstones movie.
Right. He did do that.
He was the villain in that. Maybe he just had more villain roles than I thought. He was, let me get his names, because the Flintstone always has great names. Let's see. Cliff Vandercave. That's not very good.
I love that.
And then, yeah, the other two, David Lynch.
Blue Velvet
and Dune.
Yes.
I've never seen Dune, but it's like it's like my dad's favorite book.
I've heard good things about it, but I just have no desire to watch or read it. Like, I've seen some gifs of it where I'm like, oh, Kyle MacLachlan is beautiful in this, but I don't want to watch the movie. I just want to see the gifs of him.
It was his first film, and like, I mean, that's the other thing, is I'm like, oh, this is for nerds.
I mean, the thing is, I do love science fiction, but I feel like there's nothing that really draws me to it. Like, there's nothing where I'm like, oh, this seems really interesting.
Here's the thing. I'm more of a you're more of a fantasy girl, I'm more of a science fiction girl. But there is a degree of both of those where it's like, oh, this is for fucking, like, people who have, like, a lot of, like, need to be invested in it. And Dune is, like, a fucking huge book. And people, like, when they talk about it, it just goes over my head. They're talking about fucking spice and shit. And it's like, there is a layer, right? There's a layer that is, like, harder to penetrate. Like, I would say the Song of Ice and Fire books that's at the bottom layer, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's like a hard thing for someone who's just like casually into something to really give a shit about. Game of Thrones is higher. Like, Game of Thrones, the TV show, has a degree of that because of all the different characters. But like,
but I mean, you can be an idiot and watch Game of Thrones too.
I mean, lots of people do.
I know, true. I mean, there's no way they could have that big of an audience without like 90% of the people being idiots.
But like, the books are like, oh, I need to pay attention. And then it being a David Lynch film on top of that, I'm like, oh. I mean, I know it's not Lynch's like favorite project, and it's not even all that Lynchian.
I always forget that Lynch actually made it.
Yeah.
It's like, where's Eraserhead, baby?
I would love to see. I love how the people like the directors who tackle Dune are like the most fucking off the wall. Like, oh, I'm a weird white guy and I'm a director and everything's gonna be like surreal and shit. Like, it's never just it's never fucking like Christopher Nolan, like fucking baby's first film.
Yeah. We also got another question from Summer.
Summer?
Yeah, friend of the show, Summer, our good friend of the show.
What does she have to say?
Summer says, what would Stephanie and Alex's newspaper columns look like?
Oh boy. Have you got an idea? Because I don't.
Okay. I feel like if I wrote a column, it would probably be about, like, okay, so I only have like 5 interests. So, it would probably be about one of those things every week. I feel like I have the most to say about like Pokemon. I feel like I could easily write a column that's like, this is the cool Pokemon that I like this week. And this is why I think it's really neat. And did you know all these facts about it? And also, like, this is cool.
Stephanie, I'm getting like severe like year 5 like show and tell flashbacks.
But I mean, I could absolutely write that.
Oh, I would absolutely read it, and I don't really care about Pokemon, but like it
Yeah.
sounds fantastic. Just like, this is the Pokemon I care about this week.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, there's so many Pokemon I care about, so I could just go on forever.
I feel like maybe I would have like a film one, I suppose, like film and TV. I mean, that's kind of boring. Maybe an advice column.
I would love to write an advice column. Also, I would love to read your advice column because I already know the things that you say just anyway. And just it's watching you respond directly to people, kind of like, especially since they're like anonymous, so it's not like they're really asking you questions to your face, like just knowing the kinds of things you would say in response. I would love to read that.
Well, here's the thing. I'm a Virgo, so I'm very good at advice, but no one ever takes it. And then I have to sit there like, I told you so. Just radiating. I don't say it, but I do radiate it.
Oh, I love to say I told you so. It's good.
Yeah, I think if I had anything else, like, my mind just wanders so much, that I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna have a film column. I'm gonna talk about like all the films that came out this week, and I'm gonna talk about like an old film I love. That I would lose track of that, and I would just start talking about like the weird thoughts that come into my brain. Like, okay, I did tweet this, but not enough people really like responded to it for my liking. But Ariana Grande is Hatsune Miku for non-weebs, because I was listening to The Light Is Coming the other day, and I just saw like a fucking Vocaloid. Like,
Yeah.
she is.
You're right.
The hair, the like cartoonishly long hair, the tiny little dresses, the sort of like tinge of childhoodness, the sort of tinge of the Lolita thing, which is a bit off-putting, but like, whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of her thing at this point.
Yeah, and that's like every anime character.
I guess the only difference is that's her own design, whereas most anime characters are like drawn by horny men.
True. Ariana Grande is a woman, a live woman, so yeah, she can kind of do what she wants.
Yeah, she has some autonomy.
She has some autonomy. She is a real live person as opposed to a fictional character, but like that is a major difference. But otherwise, I mean, prove me wrong.
That's a really good point. And I think that you're right, and everyone should go onto your Twitter feed and follow you and like your post.
And you can anonymously ask for my advice. I don't think you should actually take it. Well, I think you should, because I'm always right, but if something goes wrong when you do, that's not my liability. Again, you have autonomy.
But you're always right, so if people don't take your advice, that's their own fault.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If it goes wrong and you take my advice, then I'm not liable. If it goes wrong and you don't, then you should listen to me.
Well, we should start our own newspaper and publish like our advice column and our I like this Pokemon column.
That's it. It's just a sheet. It's just a sheet of paper. Print media isn't dying, bitch. We're coming back.
So that's our last question. Thank you, Summer.
Thank you, Summer. Thank you, everyone who asked us questions. We appreciate it.
So I guess we can sign off then. So if you want to find me on media, on the media, you can find me on Twitter at Age of Oddish, and you can find me on Tumblr at Windfall Island.
Yeah, and if you want to find me, then you can find me on Tumblr at Dork Phoenix, or you can find me on Twitter at DorkPhoenix69.
I love it. And yeah, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, on Tumblr. You can see our new episode posts and stuff.
Yeah, I forgot to plug that last week. But to be fair, I also forgot to thank Josh on air. For everyone who is worried, we did thank him after we recorded.
We did. We promise.
Yeah.
That he was thanked. So follow us on there and check us out on Noisepace because, there's always new podcasts on Noisepace and they're really great. Check out The Island Shuffle. That's me every week. I'm like, check out The Island Shuffle. It's really good.
Yeah, and check out check out Tuning Fork, check out Jerking It, check out The Stick, check out if I name all of them, I'm going to forget one. I'm going to be assassinated. Check out my pod cabbages.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, my pod cabbages is very good. So listen to that.
If I forgot you, don't kill me.
True. Or try, bitch.
Bold of you to assume you can.
But yeah, so that's it for us. So I guess we will see you next week. So as we say, mohe every day.
Adios.